All right, guys. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys had a great Labor Day. And we're back with some AI Playbook. We're going to jump right into it. I don't know how long this is going to take for everybody. We have allotted an hour today. I was hoping to at least be able to go through and teach about 40 minutes of that, maybe be able to answer some questions at the end. We're going to attempt to try this in a little bit different way than I originally thought about. I've got Dora on here who's going to be help assisting me today with some of the session. Just depends on where we're going to go with this. This is a very interactive class. So I'm going to ask that everybody please make sure your cameras are on and this is not like a class that you come to and just take notes. This is a class where you come and you interact. So please make sure your cameras are on and you're ready to interact with us. Today, we're not just going to be showing you slides and talking through slides. We're actually going to be doing things. These next several sessions are all implementation courses. So it's going to require you guys to be interacting. There's this book I really love. It's called The One Thing. And what is your one thing that you want to get out of this class today that's going to make everything else easier or unnecessary? And I stole that from Brett Bishop because he had this great idea. Because I know that frustrates him when he goes to a class and he doesn't have your attention. The one thing that you can do that will make everything easier and necessary is if you participate today. Just participate. If you participate, it's going to make much of your day and make this class much more valuable in your life. So today, as you can see on the screen, we did class 1 last week, which was the AI Playbook overview. Today, we're going to be talking the implementation of the Personalizing Your AI Assistant. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Hopefully you guys like that music. Again, that was all AI generated right from AI. So I know it got me moving a little bit. So last week, the AI Playbook, we talked about large language models. So we talked about welcome mindset and shift. We talked about the 7 myths of AI in real estate, the 2 buckets of AI use, the large language models, personalizing your AI assistant, perfecting your prompts, putting AI into action, compliance tips, and then next steps and call to action. So basically we reviewed everything. This week, we're going to start putting it into action and we're going to start understanding the large language models and how they're used. So to be able to do so and make it so that we don't have to constantly do it over and over, we have to focus on making sure that we give it the personalization it needs so that when we put the prompts in, that it's actually giving us exactly what we want. What I also discussed was this, which I learned from CEO Summit, which is the 20-60-20, which is you do you. So it's you prompt it. The AI engine will do all the work at 60%, but then it's going to give you an output. And I don't want you guys taking that output and just accepting it as it is. I want you to go back and refine it, ask it questions. We discussed that and fully yes last week. And if you didn't get to see that part of it, I do suggest you go back and watch that video and see how to go through and refine question. There's several different ways that you can do that. The next thing you need to do is pick your LLM. So ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, Grok, those are some of them. Even in Meta, if you use either Instagram or Facebook, they have their Meta Llama model that you could use that one as well. There's many different models out there. Main thing is you just get comfortable using it. And there's different uses for each one as well. As this list shows, there's the jack of all trades, which is ChatGPT. When I say jack of all trades, that doesn't mean it's a master of all, though. It's not doing everything perfectly. It does some things really well. In fact, I find myself going back and forth between ChatGPT and Gemini quite often. Sometimes I'll go to Claude when it comes to certain things that I need done that look a little prettier. But when it comes to photo editing, Gemini is definitely in the past week has taken over as the leader in photo editing. If you haven't checked it out, if you go into Gemini right now and throw in a photo in there from one of your listings and you want it to declutter it, it'll make that picture look really pretty. And guess what? It's free. All right. So what we're going to talk about today first is ahas. Can anybody jump in and share with us some ahas that they grabbed from last week? Yes, if you came on I'm looking at the chat here, and if you came on last week's call and you registered for the call, I emailed you all the slides. I just emailed you the video. I even emailed you a couple of different prompts for you. My one thing, best prompts to personalize. Anybody get any ahas from last week?
My biggest aha, Ryan, was there is so much more I can do with it. I've been using it to write, create logos, to do it's been amazing, but I was barely scratching the surface.
That's a great aha. Thanks for sharing, Pat.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I create my newsletter that typically takes me 5+ hours. It takes me 3 minutes. Isn't that awesome, Sarah? I love that one. And Sarah, did you ask it to create that for you each week or each month so that you don't have to go back and reprompt it? That was one of the tips we shared last week as well, is making sure that you set it to automatically create that for you. It can set it as a task, a reoccurring task. Anybody else? Yes, there is a recording. It's on our YouTube channel, and I emailed it out last week. You can also find it on our YouTube channel. I'll make sure it'll get emailed again starting right after the call today. So today's recording will go out and it'll take you to last week's call as well.
Hey, good morning, Ren. Stefan in Boca.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
Very good, and you? Uploading the contract to check if the contract is valid or not and what could be a problem with it. I think that was a great tip from you.
Awesome. Did you try the one I gave you in the email?
No, I
There was
haven't
a
tried.
GPT. If you go to the email I sent you last week, there was a GPT in there. And if you use that one, it's actually got predetermined instructions in there. So if you drop the contract into that, it'll do a lot more for you. Actually, it's write emails and stuff for you. Mr. Benson.
Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity. As a result of our call, my brain said, take the association minutes from a community where my buyers are considering purchasing and ask it to analyze them for any concerns or discrepancies.
Very nice. How did that come out?
It was enlightening. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, a lot of good useful stuff in there. There's a lot of stuff that I know. I think I mentioned this last week. I recorded all of Mega Camp when I went there. I just recorded each session and then I uploaded it. It transcribed it, and then it gave me the cliff notes on my notes. So it was very helpful in that aspect. All right. Thank you guys for those of you who shared. We're going to go ahead and move forward now. And I gave you guys some homework. I said to pick one LLM and start using it today. Personalize your LLM with your master prompt, practice with Rice and 7 hacks, and use AI for real estate tasks this week. So what we're going to do is I am going to ask you really quickly I'll launch this poll for you guys. And if you guys could just take a second and please answer this. All right, we're halfway there. We got half of you participated. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So let's take a look at these results. So what LM did you choose to practice with last week? 78% of you went with ChatGPT, and that seems to be pretty consistent. Some of the other ones got a lot of zeros in there, but Gemini got 16%. That's awesome. At least you guys went and tried. At least a lot of you went and tried. ChatGPT, as I said, is going to be the jack of all trades, so it can help you in that area. Some of the other ones do some things better. Gemini definitely is doing their video and their photos a little bit better. And I've also found they do spreadsheets quite well. But glad to see some of you guys using that one. The next one we have in here is, did you personalize your AI yet? I got 38% of you said yes, 47% said no, and then 16% said that's why you're here today. Great, you came to the right place. Did you practice the Rice method? We got 38% of you saying I'm a ninja, and then 63% said, what is the Rice method? I will watch last week's video. That's awesome. Thank you guys for being transparent there. And then who used AI in real estate related tasks? We got 78% of you used it, and then 22% did not. That is very valuable information. So we will move forward and get into personalizing your AI assistant. How are we going to personalize your AI assistant? Why we're going to do it is it acts as the default instructions for all future interactions for you to fill it out once and set expectations for your preferred style, tone, format, and role. This is how your assistant will interact with you each time until you make updates. Your memory, it's got memory in there. It acts like your executive assistant that never forgets facts about you, your goals, your quirks, your past conversations, so you don't repeat yourself. And that's the one thing right there, that last part, so I don't repeat myself, is probably my biggest hang up on it. Is I don't like having to say the same thing over, and I don't like having to prompt it in certain ways over and over when I can just give it specific tasks. Even when I'm asking it questions, if you really want to act like your personal assistant, think if you were to go and hire like somebody from a college near you, or just you hired an actual assistant, or you got yourself a VA. But if they ask you the same questions over and over, that would get annoying, right? That's why we're going to give it these special instructions so it already knows that stuff about you and can act like a true personal assistant. All right. Hannah, thank you very much for putting that in there.
You're welcome.
All right. So I will make sure everything from last week and this week gets included in the email going out so you guys don't have to worry about that. This personal assistant, I'm going to give you 2 ways that you're going to be able to personalize your personal assistant, okay? I'm going to give you the easy button, which is you can use this GPT agent. So you can scan this QR code now. When you scan this QR code, you're going to first make sure you've downloaded ChatGPT onto your phone or any other device that you might have so that you can use this GPT. And once you scan this QR code, once you have that on your phone, you'll be able to follow the instructions on there. And it's going to ask you some instruction. It's going to ask you some questions. The reason I call this the easy button is you don't have to think about what questions are. You just follow the prompts. It's going to ask you questions and you just answer them truthfully. At the end, it's going to give you instructions on what to do. And there's another method. If you don't want to do it that way, if you want to follow along with us here, we're not going to get rid of you, but some of us are going to do the manual method, which is what I'm going to be teaching. The manual method is taking these identifiers that we talked about in very quickly last week and going step by step. What I'd like to do is, so I don't waste some of you guys' time, is I'd like to do a breakout room. And I want you guys to go in and work on the QR code and do that. And Dora's been gracious enough to volunteer to open that room up with me so that we don't distract you while you're doing yours. And she's going to be there with you to help you with the GPT. I'm going to stay here with the rest of you guys, and I'm going to work on going step by step and helping you guys identify. It is going to be a little bit quiet at some points because you guys are going to be working on this. So I am going to put some background music on. But the main point here is I want to make sure that you have somebody there with you to help you work through each of these steps. The goal is by the end of the day today, you walk away from this call and you have a personalized AI assistant that you can start working with immediately. Is there any questions before we start?
Can we do it from an iPhone or it has to be the desktop?
It can be whatever you want. So if you do it on your iPhone, that's fine. It'll work either way. If you're going to be using the easy button that I gave you, just make sure you've got ChatGPT on your phone. Even if you don't want to use that one, just use it for this portion of it. You should be able to log into it without an account and just use the GPT. But if it asks you to log in, just go ahead. You can always delete it afterwards. It's just going to ask you questions about who you are, what tone you want, some of the similar things that's on here. All right. So if you're going to use the easy button, please go ahead and raise your hand now. All right. So here you go. I've gone ahead and opened it up. All you do is you got your hands raised up and go ahead and choose that room. If you hit the easy button, it's going to take you into that room. And Dora, you'll want to do the same thing. Go ahead and choose the easy button. I'm not going to assign it to you. And then the rest of you, once you're in that room, go ahead and take that QR code that you've got and scan it. And go ahead and get to work on that. And then the rest of you stay here with me and I'm going to walk you through each of the steps.
Ryan, I see
I
what
figured
you
this
see.
would be a lot easier to do it this way because I don't want you guys to get all distracted.
Hey, Ryan, could you
Yeah.
show the slide with the QR code, please?
Absolutely.
Oh, hang on. Go away. Thank you.
Not a problem. We'll leave up just a minute more, and then we're going to jump into actually programming this. Now, before we get started on programming this, if you're going to use Gemini and you're using it, do not use the KW version of it for what we're about to do, because the KW version this time is, we are giving it to, especially in our region, because we're part of the KWRI family. They are giving it to us basically for free right now as a trial. But that also means there's some caveats to that, which means that you don't have the ability to personalize that version of it. So I suggest you use your Gmail or any other account that you have to do that, because it will give you the ability to personalize that one. It just won't do it in the KW one because it is not currently part of our actual ecosystem. All right, so we're going to move on to all those people who are in the other chat. I see a couple hands. Donna and Cindy, did you have a question before we move forward? All right, I'm going to lower your hands because I'm assuming you just had your hands up because I've asked you to before. All right. So we're doing the manual method in this room. What we're going to do is we're going to first start off by identifying your preferred communication style. So think about it when you're talking to your assistant. How would you like your assistant to talk to you? If you had somebody sitting right next to you who's going to learn everything from you, how would you want them to talk to you? Do you want them to be friendly? Do you want them to be formal? Do you want them to be creative, reserved? Do you want them to be sarcastic? Choose one of these styles. These are some examples. Like I said, sarcastic, and that's not really up here. So you could use whatever you want. But main thing is think of it. And you don't have to have one form. You can have multiple forms. So you could choose 2, 3 of these. It just depends on the situation. And if there are certain situations, then identify that. So if it's something when it's being like if there's an analytical thing that it's performing, then ask it to be more straightforward and analytical. If you're crafting emails or something where it's a discussion, be more friendly. If it's something that warrants being humorous, then ask it to do that. But give it specifics on that and some examples on those situations, and it will react that way. So I'm going to take a minute right now. I want you to look at this. I'll put a tiny bit of music on while we're doing this, and then we'll come back. I'll give us about 2 minutes to do this one. All right, guys. Hopefully you've got that. Anybody need a little bit more time? Maria? Okay. Give you a couple more minutes while you go ahead and work on that. Anybody want to share what was important to them that they identified as far as their communication style? I'd love to hear some of you guys' thoughts and why you chose that.
I put a comment in the chat box because it says I hit my limit.
It hits your limit. If it says it hits your limit, then my suggestion is if you have another account, it's to sign with another account. You can use it pretty well for a free account. I would suggest though, after you've learned some of this and you've taken this class and we start going to the more advanced portions of it, you may want to go ahead and upgrade. It's $20 a month and it's probably the best $20 that you're going to spend. You're going to use this quite often if it's the one that you want to use. You can go to Gemini and use it as well. Just again, use it in a Gmail address or something like this, not a KW email address, so that you have more functionality. But it's free over there for a certain amount as well. As an MC, I use the analytical and detail for my real self, and I choose encouraging and humorous. Love it. That's a good point. Stefan, what did you put in?
I choose friendly. That's maybe because of my disc. Encouraging, curious, analytic, objective, and detailed.
Okay. So you don't want it yelling at you.
No.
Okay. Ashley, what did you pick? I got Donna here, says she chose encouraging, enthusiastic, and creative.
Me, Ashley?
Yes.
Okay. My preferred communication style, I'd say I'm more like Gen Z, unfortunately, but I try to be formal at the same time, not too serious, like a balance of both on both sides.
Nice. I need the Gen Z when I'm trying to translate my kids.
I got you if you need any help.
All right. Appreciate it. I was told I don't have much Riz yesterday. All right. Curious, enthusiastic, and creative. I got some drawings. All right. Thanks for the drawings. All right. Let's move on to the next section here. All right. So you got your communication style down. That's great. Now we wanted to know more about us. We're going to need to tell our name. So first thing is, if you're using the easy button, you're probably over in the other room. So here, what I would suggest for doing is we're just going to go and we're just writing this down. If I was you, you could write it into ChatGPT or you could write it into Gemini, whoever you want, whatever, any of these models you want. You could just type this in here as they're going. And then once we're done, you could say, now help me refine this into a prompt. However you want to do it, you could write it on a Word document, however you want to do it. Just make sure you're writing this stuff down so that we can then feed it into the large language model. Next thing you want to do is you want to give it your name. You're going to want to tell it about your family and key people. You're going to want to put in some of your hobbies and your interests. You're going to want to put in here your core values and beliefs. Now, do you have to put all this in here? No. But if it's important to you and this is stuff that you wanted to remember, then I'm going to suggest that you do put that stuff in here. For example, your core values and beliefs, I highly do suggest. Now, I don't even have that part into the easy button that I gave them, but I do believe that on here, that is very important part of it because this is like your business. Where you're creating a business profile, those core values and beliefs are part of your business and how you do business, right? So I highly suggest that you do put that in there. That way it follows that method. Your preferences when it comes to diet, travel, movies, that is important for maybe you, when you're doing that, if you're going to be using it on a personal level. As far as a business level, maybe it's not as important. So you choose whether you want to include that or not. I know for me, travel is very important because I travel a lot when I'm going around teaching around the region. So having that part in there is important. And I'll give you an example of that. I use Southwest a lot because it's easy to travel between Southwest and the Tampa Bay area and Fort Lauderdale area. So knowing that I prefer to use Southwest as a flight is important. I definitely don't want to use Silver Airlines because they're no longer in business. So those are some things that it's just important to put into there. And maybe I want to maximize my points as far as traveling. So giving it that kind of information is important so that you can make sure you get the desired goal. Top 3 personal goals. This is important because its goal should be to help you get to your goals. So make sure it understands what your goals are personally and professionally. Your health goals and habits. Again, this is totally up to you whether it's something you want to do in there. I give you an example of a habit I would include in here is making sure that when it comes to your calendar, that you're always making sure between meetings, you're giving yourself some space. You need some you time to be able to go to the bathroom, get a drink of water, to just be able to write down all the things. I know when I get done teaching, I take detailed notes on when I'm teaching a class, on things I notice, things that I need to do, and make sure I do the follow-ups. For example, when I get done with this class today, I'm going to make sure I have the time in there to where I can follow up with you guys by sending an email, making sure you got all the things I promised you. I'm seeing that you're hitting the limit on your paid version. Man, I don't remember it being that short of a limit. I would definitely suggest that if you go to the top right-hand corner, you should see a button asking you to upgrade. And if not, just click on the little circle and you should be able to upgrade. If
Brian, I
not,
got a
then
quick
they
question.
may have moved it to the bottom left.
Got a quick question.
Yes, Frank.
Does this have to be in any order or disorder, or does it the order?
It doesn't matter the order, as long as you get it in there. We're going to take everything you've written down. We're going to ask whatever language model you're using currently to help you craft this into a prompt. So just get it written down right now. My health goals and habits, and then off-limit topics. This is going to asterisk next to it, and I think it's probably one of the most important things because there may be some things in there you don't want it to do. For example, if it's going to be helping you write anything for your listings, then make sure that you don't have certain things in there that violate our TCPA, that violate our fair housing, any of that stuff. You could simply say any fair housing is off limits, and it will be able to pull that information. So go ahead and work on some of this stuff right now. Write down as much as you possibly can, and then I'd love to hear from some of you guys some of the important things once we get done. We'll go back again for 2 minutes, give you guys some chance, and I'll see if you guys are ready, and then we'll share. Who wants to share? I know some of this stuff is a little bit personal, but it's okay. I'd love to hear what some of maybe your off topics, because it might help jog somebody else's memory. That's why I wanted to do this part of it. Somebody might have forgot something in there that would be important to them. So sharing is caring. 40 some minds are better than one. Donna says, oh, well, and making a difference for people. Okay. Health is very important. Anybody else want to share? Come on, give me at least 3 more. 3 more, and we'll move on to step 3, and then we can wrap up and get your thing created. 3 more shares. Frank, you care to share?
Okay, so what all did you want to know? Just the
Anything you're willing to share here on the step 2 for your personal insights.
Okay.
What is important for you?
family. I guess we'll talk about my family and kids and stuff like that. See personable. Yes. personal goals should be honesty and integrity, off limit topics, fair housing and politics, hobbies, golf, still working. Values.
Hey, that's awesome. I know when I'm going through this, I think of forward or form was family, occupation, recreation, and your goals or your motivation. So having those in there is really important. If you're motivated by golf, that might be important to put in there. Anybody else want to share? David, you want to share? I know yours would be golf too.
It's funny. I'm talking to ChatGPT right now about creating a training manual around Keller Williams 6 core topics. It's amazing how much it knows about Keller Williams 6 core topics.
Oh yeah, it's really smart. It's really great. I like comment here. Good reminder, off limit politics. That's exactly why I want you guys to share. I wanted to hear some of you guys share because it helps jog our memories here on some things that maybe we need to remember to put in here, especially since we're all going towards the same goal of making sure that there's certain things we don't talk about or certain things we do talk about. Thank you, Frank, for sharing. Thank you, David. Anybody else willing to share? Mark, you got anything you want to share? I know you're a smart guy. You got something there.
Yeah, on the first one, I said my name is Mark.
That's a very important one. It's very important. Joking around, but not joking around. You don't want to put something in. You can put in there, my name's Boss. If you want it to call you Boss, that's fine. But I wouldn't put jerk in there or anything like that. You don't want to call you jerk. All right. Make sure you're clear on what you want it to call you. But thanks. That actually was good.
I'll go share one.
Thank you, Al.
It's okay. My goal was AI has been very fascinating for me. So my goal was to be ahead of it, not just like for real estate, but also because there was like hearing to have a second me in AI to assist me both on my professional and personal life. So
Yeah.
my goal is to not master it because it's constantly changing, but to understand it and to be ahead compared to others.
Very good. And you can ask it exactly that and make sure that it's constantly feeding you information if you want it to, so that it can keep you on the forefront of it. All right, good. Thank you for sharing. We will move ahead, go to the next one because the next one is going to be very important. We'll make sure we get in here before we run out of time. And step 3 is going to be add your custom business instructions. Okay. So the industry and your niche, your core services. So really think about what you do because we discussed who you are. We discussed what you like, but now we need to discuss what it is you do and how you're going to do it within your industry. Okay. So tell it you're a real estate agent. And if you have a niche, like you focus mostly on foreclosures, then put that in there. If you focus on death or marriage or any of those things that go on when it comes to a specific niche in our industry, make sure you let it know that so that it can help you the best it can with those certain things. And it's writing towards that because you're going to probably use this. Most real estate agents are going to use this to help them write quite a bit. You may be writing a blog, writing something for your website, writing something for your listings, but it needs to be able to understand what you and how you do your business. So your core services, make sure that's in there. What are some of the products and services that you do use or offer? Ideal customer profile. I think that's vitally underused. So what's the avatar of your client? Because you want to attract the people you want to work with, not the people you don't want to work with. Okay. And then biggest business pain points. So what are you currently having some pain points in? I hear it from agents all the time. I'm just having a problem right now getting more listings, or I'm having a problem because my listings are sitting too long. Whatever those pain points are, let's put those in there. Short-term goals for 30 to 60, 90 days. Maybe you're currently sitting at, you're only getting 1 listing a month and you want to do 4. So maybe tell it that. My short-term goal is to get to 4 listings a month. Long-term vision within 35 years. Maybe you want to be doing 100 units. Key business metrics and track. I'm just giving you really quick ones, but it may be more than that. You can go long. You don't have to sit there and be really short. You can give it a full-on dissertation if you want. Key business metrics though to track. So again, you can go back to what I was just saying. If you're currently doing 1 unit and you want to do 4, key business metrics is to keep me on track towards 4 units per month. And then business tools and apps. So what are some of the business tools and apps you use currently in your business? I would tell it what CRMs you're using, what type of phone you're using. The more it knows about you and how you're doing, it can recommend to you how to best do whatever it is you're trying to do. So if you're using an iPhone, say I have an iPhone. If you are using command, put in command. If you're using follow-up box, put in follow-up box. If you're using what's called G Suite, put G Suite in there. If you're using the Office suite from Microsoft, put that in there. That way it knows what tools you're using and can help you best using those tools. And you don't have to explain to it all the time. I'll give you an example. I'm constantly using it to help me with formulas in Google Sheets, but I have to constantly say, in Google Sheets, do this. If I was to tell it now that I use Google Sheets regularly, then I wouldn't have to say that all the time. I could just tell it, hey, I need to create a formula that helps me do this. It'll know that I'm using Google Sheets from that. All right, so go ahead and take a few minutes, really think this through, and we'll come back and do the same thing we'll share. Because I think this part, last part was really important, but I think we could really learn from each other on this part. I made sure that song was exactly 2 minutes. That way I can make sure I came back to it. So, anybody want to share? Anything you got? Please share. Josie, you want to share? You got anything you can help?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I've been doing this for a little bit, but just going back and going through these questions, I'm just answering the question or just telling it, add this to what you know about me. So if anyone out there is using it before, just adding it to clarify what you wanted to know about you, I've seen it do a lot better.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I've had it in there as a setting, but I've had to go back and adjust. And there's nothing wrong with that. As we
Yeah.
do this, just because you do it now doesn't mean you can't go back and fix it. You can always go back and adjust to the more you learn about yourself through it and maybe start finding it's doing something that's annoying you because you have to constantly tell it. You'll learn to adjust that by putting it into the personalization settings here.
Absolutely. One thing that I do, I've seen once I did the long-term vision, it started giving me things that aligned a lot more with it, even in the short term. So the 3 to 5 years, I just added one for the rest of this year, and I started using a lot of that information versus the 5 year time frame. So really cool on how the more you give it and the more specific you are, the better the results you get back.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of doing like a 411 and you were to actually give it the details from your 401, it'll help you make sure that what it's providing you is aligning with that 411 as well. It might even remind you, hey, that's maybe not in your top, that's not in your 20% that you should be
Right.
working. That's in your 80%. I got Donna saying industry marketing and branding. Most agents need branding, not marketing, making them feel like they stand out, key points, and time blocking. Thank you, Donna, for sharing. If you need branding advice, this thing will be great at doing that. You just got to, again, explain to it what your brand looks like. Same thing is what we're doing here. You basically are, by going through these questions, creating your brand of who you are, making sure it sticks to that brand. All right. Anybody else? Davies, you got anything you can share?
Hi, almost good afternoon. I've been doing it a while as well, and it's funny. I just want to throw a wrench into it. So, as the MCTT for Natasha Tello's offices, I speak a lot on behalf of her, and I use it a lot on behalf of her. So it actually thinks it's her. So when I ask it to make a bio for me, it's telling me that I've been in the business for 23 years and I'm only 34. I have not been in the business 23 years. Right. So it's pretty cool. And I've actually now said, okay, no, that's my broker. I work as her MCTT. This is who I am. So I started to tell it more about myself. And now it's starting to react to me. And so when it comes to the business side, I use mostly the MCTT stuff. So how I can use it
Nice.
for command and all that.
Very good. Anybody else want to share? Apple, you got one you want to share? Yeah, good insight before. You want to share this time?
I I did the personalization for ChatGPT, and it did help me get the prompts more personalized to me. But I have three personalities that I have to like give it to them. I'm not sure if that is effective, but if I'm like doing transaction coordinator task, that's the personality that I use. So I have three
I think that's important that
personalities.
you tell it that. As long as you tell it
Yeah.
that, 'cause depending upon the task that's being completed, I have a different type of personality that I would be implementing. So if I'm doing transaction coordinating type of stuff, then I would be more analytical and I'm doing this. If I'm creating a listing, then I'm being more creative and
Yeah.
following that type of prompt. So there's nothing wrong with that as long as you tell it. All right. Because that's how you would teach somebody. If I was teaching you to be my assistant and I wanted you to act or provide it in certain ways, that's how I'd have to tell you. So just make sure you are giving it complete instructions. The more instructions you give it, the better.
Yes.
Again, if you were hiring an assistant, if you went down to University of Miami and got a student down there and said, "Hey, you're going to be doing my marketing for me," how would you teach them to do your marketing? How would you get them to understand your brand? Would you explain your goals to them? Because you really would want to make sure they understand your long-term goals so they can help you get to your goals. If you don't, it's all on you, and you don't have to do that. All right, we've completed getting steps 1 through 3 in here, so it should have an idea. So what you should do now is you should take all the information that you wrote down, and depending upon where you wrote it down, whether you wrote it on a piece of paper, you wrote it into a Word document processor, you wrote it into ChatGPT, wherever you put it, I want you to take that information. I want you to go ahead and put it in ChatGPT or Gemini or wherever you're writing and say, take this information, help me create a prompt that will give me an output of a personal profile of myself. And it will take all the writing and chicken scratch or anything that you put down, and it'll make it beautiful for you. And then you're going to take that, you're going to copy that, and you're going to go into your settings on whichever one you're using, and you're going to find personalization settings in there. That personalization setting, you're going to copy and paste that directly into it. And in ChatGPT, I believe it has 2 areas that you can put it into. There's one that's just talking about who you are, and there's another one that's instructions on what do you want it to do. You can either choose to just put it all in one, or you can choose to break it, part of it up and put the business part in one and the personal part in the other. It's completely up to you on how you want to do it. I personally just put it all in one. So go ahead and do that now. I will tell you, I'm going to log into my Gemini account so I can walk you through that one. The one in ChatGPT is in the bottom left-hand corner. What Gemini? If you go to Gemini, actually got to do it outside of KW. Let me put my other one. All right. So settings and help. So in Gemini, it's going to be bottom left-hand corner. And I will actually, you know what? I'm just going to share my screen. Can you guys see that there? Or do I have it share? Do you see Gemini in here right now? Or you still see the app? Okay. So in here, if you go down to the bottom left-hand corner, you can see the settings and help. And then you can go to, is it your saved info? And in here, you can put details into there and make sure, yeah, saved info. You will just go ahead and hit add, and you can add it. It's a little bit different in ChatGPT and Gemini, because in Gemini, you can just keep on adding stuff in there. You could copy the whole thing that you just got and you can put it in here right away. And you can see here it's my girlfriend and times we start dating. That's important so I don't forget. It'll remind me where I was born. I have 3 girls. I put their birthdays in. So there's a lot of information you can just keep on adding. You can also delete it whenever you want, and you can ask it not to share. So that's in Gemini. And then in ChatGPT, I'll pull that one up and show you there. Excuse me. So we're going to go into here. And down at the bottom, I come in here and I go to customize ChatGPT. And then what should I call you? What do you do? And then what some traits Chat you should have, anything else we should know about you. So you can put as much as you want in there. I do not have Gen Z in there. Maybe I should add that so that I can understand Ashley. And then you can enable for new chats and hit save. And you can also go down to the advanced section and it will let you choose what capabilities you have available. I would just keep them all on. But setting up this customization part is vital to you getting exactly what you want. So make sure you've got all this in here. Once you have that in there, you now have customized your GPT so that, or you can customize your large language model so you can make sure that it is following and doing along exactly what you want going forward. My homework for you guys going forward from here is that you go in, let me make sure that you can't remember. I'm going to go ahead and close that, bring everybody back. We're going to bring everybody back to the room so we can make sure we give them homework. But anybody have anything interesting happen, or has anybody tried anything while we're waiting on those people to come back since they've customized it? Have you asked it to do anything? You got any good results?
I do have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Since I did miss the very first one, are you going
I
to
can go
email
back
out
to it.
everything?
First one is right here. It's just identify.
No, I'm
case
talking about
study.
the very first class. The very first
Okay, yes,
class.
I'm going to send out the recording for it again today. You'll get today's recording and last one's recording. And you can
Thank you.
also visit our YouTube channel. They're all right on there as well.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead and subscribe to that channel if you can, and we'll make sure that any of our trainings get notified for you. All right, we're just waiting on a few more people to jump back in here.
Ryan, you're sure
Yes.
that the slide were in the email, the slide of last week?
Yeah, we'll share the slides as well. Yeah.
Okay. And when we ask ChatGPT to do summary of the text, can we use the same text for ChatGPT and Gemini, or you prefer if the Gemini generate the text itself?
Do it however you want. It's gonna give you the same results. You can play with it if you'd like to, but I put both of the same stuff in both of them before, and it's been the same for me.
Okay, thanks.
Their goal is the same. The goal is just to personalize this thing and make sure it works properly for you, so it identifies who you are, what you're trying to do. It's just like anything else. If we're doing a 401, we're trying to identify what our goals are for that. We're trying to do the same thing here. It's just identifying the goal and the purpose behind what the agent is. A large language model, so it's following specific instructions. It's just doing what we tell it to do. All right. So hopefully we still got 6 people over there. We got a lot of the other people back. So everybody who's back, welcome back. We just finished up. Hopefully you guys have finished creating your GPT and followed the instructions. When you went into ChatGPT or you went into Gemini or any of the other models you have, the goal there was for you to customize instructions. The output on using the easy button gave you the output automatically. I had to just copy and paste it over into any of the large language models you're using and just go into that customization area. Now, from there, you should now have a personalized assistant that you can start using. The homework is for you to now go back and, same as last week, I challenge you again to go and do these things. Choose the model that you're using, make sure you've got it personalized, and then practice with the rice and 7 hacks. If you don't know what rice is, I'm going to send you the slides. It's in the slides. It'll go through and help you. And then you're going to work on the hacks. Part of that hack is not just accepting the first thing that it tells you, okay? Don't go in there and say, hey, help me with creating slides for a class I have to teach, and this is it. And then whatever it spits out saying, okay, that's great. It's not great. You're going to have to go back and tell it some additional things. Here's something. If you do that and you notice it's doing something that you don't like, maybe it's coming from your custom instructions that you just personalized. So try it a few times and see if it keeps on giving you that same result. And if it does, then go back to your custom instructions and see if there's something in there that's maybe causing it to do that. And you can even take your custom instructions that we just made right now and put that in there, and ask the GPT, is there anything from this that's causing you to give this result? And then it'll identify it for you. And then you can say, okay, now update this and tell me how to not do that going forward. Does that make sense? It's kind of, again, if Dora was my assistant and she kept on messing up on something, say, was there anything in my instructions that I gave you that caused you to think this way? Maybe I'm giving the wrong instructions here. And she would say to me, yeah, you're just being a mean person. So I would be a mean person back to you. So I say, okay, I just not need to be giving a mean persona across. I need to give a kind persona, as Stefan was saying. He wanted his to be kind. So we'll just make sure that we correct that for the future. And you can just go and edit yours. And then use one of these in your real estate tasks. Like I was saying, I was showing to the MCC this morning. I found a picture of a listing on the MLS this week. And this room, it was a kitchen, was completely cluttered. Like, it was ridiculous. I can't believe somebody would actually put that on the MLS or show it, but they did. So I took that picture and I threw it into Gemini and asked Gemini to declutter that picture. And it looked beautiful. It looked like it had never been cluttered. It looked like it was completely done. It's changing that for us. I no longer, like, I used to use Box Brownie before to go do stuff like that. I put it in there, have it give me the nice sky background and declutter a room, put bushes in a certain area. You can do that. Just remember, when you put it into your MLS, you have to let it know that artificial intelligence has been used to edit any of those photos, but you have the ability to now throw that into Gemini and it will do a lot of that stuff for you. I even took Jonah, who's our area director. He's got a new build that he's doing in Utah, and it's about 80% of the way up. It just doesn't have the exterior stuff on there. It's just got plywood still on the exterior, but he gave that picture to me and I put that on there and asked it to finish it with a white stucco, black windows, just give him all the instructions and give me landscaping so we could actually see what it would look like when it's done. And it did a beautiful job. It kept to the same structure of the home, the way it's framed right now. It looked amazing. So try doing something like that. Take one of your listing photos and see if you can do anything with it. There's one thing that you can go practice. Take your description you currently have in one of your listings and throw that in there and ask if it can improve that. Based upon your instructions you gave it to Personalize, it's going to understand how you're going to want to talk to it. What's something else you could do? Again, Stefan said he took it. I highly suggest, I'll put it in this email that I'm sending out again, is a GPT that I created that once you take a contract and you drop it in there, it'll tell you what you're missing. It'll tell you if that contract is executable or not. Are you missing signatures? Are you missing dates? Is there anything in there that is valuable for you to know ahead of time? And then it'll give you an email that you can send to the buyer's agent or to the listing agent or to the sellers of the property, just letting them know what the status of that property is. And I made sure that sometimes real estate agents aren't always nice to each other. They don't always send the nicest emails back and forth to each other. The goal on this one is to make it so that you're making that other agent want to work with you and keeping that in mind. So it does help prepare those emails for you. So I've already prompted that. I've already created that. And I'm giving it to you guys for free. It's right in that email. So just be on the lookout for that email. So hopefully that's a couple things right there to entice you to make sure you do read that email, go through those slides, and try to do your homework from this past week. And we'll again start next week's. And in next week's, we are going to be talking about, come back here, class 3, we're going to be talking about prompt engineering in real estate. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some of these things that I'm asking you to go play with right now. I want you to go test, and we're going to actually go in and show you how to be a master prompt engineer right there. There's careers in this now. So, folks, I'm going to show you how to do it in the easy button. All right, there, you don't have to be an expert in prompt engineering. I'm going to show you how to the cheat code to get it to help you. So join us next week from 11 to 12, same time, same hour. And I thank you guys who showed up today. And thank you again for those who have participated. If you didn't participate this week, come ready to participate next week. Appreciate you guys. Have a great week.
Thanks, Fred.
Thank you. If you joined this class and I see some of you guys putting your emails in here, I will get it from the registration and make sure I send it to everybody who registered for the class. If you haven't registered yet, make sure you register for the class. Thank you guys.